What if you could stand on the very lawn where Harry Potter learned to fly, and still be back in Edinburgh by dinner? Just south of the city, across the Scottish border, lie two of Britain's greatest castles, and you can visit them in a single, unforgettable day. This is your castle guide to Northumberland. So, I've been to Edinburgh a few times and went on a castle hopping tour in the Highlands years ago. I'll link a few of my favorites down below. This trip, I wanted to try something different. I booked through Highland Explorer Tours, and their pickup point is right in the heart of Old Town on Royal Mile. The tour cost around £70, which doesn't include entrance to either castle. You have to book that separately. I'll link details for everything down below. There are a number of day trips you can take from the city, and this one had been on my list for a while. And if you love castles as much as I do, this is probably one of the best castle day trips I've done. The day begins early, pulling out of Edinburgh just after 8 a.m. For the first hour and a half, you travel through the Scottish lowlands, across the English border into Northumberland. The first stop is Bamburgh, a small village on the northeast coast of England. Rising above it on a great crag of volcanic rock stands Bamburgh Castle, and this place was a seat of power long before England was England. In the 5th and 6th centuries, this was the royal capital of Northumbria, the stronghold of Anglo-Saxon kings. Standing at its foot, you're looking at over 1,000 years of history layered into stone. Vikings raided this coast, armies besieged these walls, and during the War of the Roses, Bamburgh became the first castle in England ever to fall to gunfire. What you see today owes much to the Victorians. The industrialist William Armstrong poured a fortune into its restoration in the 19th century. But the silhouette is timeless. It looks exactly like the castle you drew as a child. And it was also the filming location for the Netflix series The Last Kingdom. They even have some of the show's costumes on exhibit inside. What makes Bamburgh Castle unique though, and quite a bit more epic, is its location. Just steps below the castle is Bamburgh Beach, a beautiful stretch of white sand surrounded by grassy dunes, frequently voted one of the UK's best beaches. It offers some of the most epic views of the castle from a variety of different angles. Most people book this day trip for Alnwick Castle, but Bamburgh is equally as impressive and probably the more picturesque of the two. We only stopped here for an hour, and I really wish it had been longer. If you have your own car, definitely spend more time here, or try to talk your tour guide into stopping for longer. It's definitely worth it. Our next stop on this castle tour heads inland to the market town of Alnwick, and to a castle you may already know, even if you've never been, and one you're very likely mispronouncing. The English love a silent consonant, or two in this case. Alnwick Castle is the second largest inhabited castle in England after Windsor Castle, and for more than 700 years it's belonged to a single family, the Percys, the Dukes of Northumberland, who still live here today. That's the first thing that makes it remarkable. This isn't a ruin or a museum frozen behind a rope. It's a vast, lived-in medieval home with a family still at its heart. But of course, you came here for the magic. Alnwick is Hogwarts. The first two Harry Potter films were shot here, and the great, grassy Outer Bailey is where Harry took his very first flying lesson. The exact spot where Madam Hooch taught a nervous first year to mount a broomstick. And on most days, you can actually take a broomstick training lesson on that very same lawn. Broomstick lessons are free with admission to the castle, but you'll need to book a time slot, and they do tend to book up quickly. The Harry Potter is only the beginning. Alnwick has been the filming location for dozens of projects, from Downton Abbey to Robin Hood, Dungeons & Dragons, Elizabeth, and countless other productions drawn to its classic medieval design. Built in 1096, Alnwick Castle was built to protect the border and was besieged by William the Lion, the King of Scotland, twice, in 1172 and 1174. In the early 14th century, Henry Percy took over the castle and spent 40 years converting it into a mighty border fortress, adding a number of new towers and a hidden back gate. Between the film history, the living family, and the medieval grandeur, Alnwick is the kind of castle that rewards you for lingering, so don't rush it. There's plenty to do here and a lot to explore. Just beside the castle, there's something completely different, and completely unmissable if you love an English garden, like I do. The Alnwick Garden was the vision of one woman, Jane Percy, the current Duchess of Northumberland, who transformed a derelict plot into one of the most extraordinary contemporary gardens in the world. At its center is the Grand Cascade Fountain, framed by a tranquil cherry orchard and quiet ornamental walks. The highlight for me, however, was the traditional English rose garden. I've been to a few rose gardens, but this was by far the most fragrant and magical of any garden I've ever visited. I could spend an entire day here, and if I hadn't been on a scheduled tour, I probably would have. Another highlight of Alnwick Garden is the Poison Garden, filled entirely with plants that can kill you, from hemlock to deadly nightshade. You can only enter with a guide, and you're warned, quite seriously, not to touch a thing. Alnwick Garden does also host afternoon tea, and if you're visiting this July, they're hosting a Bridgerton-themed high tea the evening of July 12th. If I lived a bit closer, I would definitely be there. That wraps up our day trip to Northumberland. 2 castles, 1 perfect day, and a garden that can kill you. That sounds like my kind of holiday. Subscribe for more content like this, and check out my Edinburgh playlist. I cover everything from shopping to cozy bookstores and the Witchery's afternoon tea. What's your favorite castle in the UK? Let me know in the comments below.